them. Okay, so if the user guessed color dot equals ignore case computer generated color, then what we want to do is, that means there's a match. That means the user has typed what the computer guessed. So in that case, then let's keep track of how many times the user got it correct, right? So I'm going to come up here and declare a variable is going to be an integer, and that variable is going to keep track of how many times the user guessed correctly. So I'm going to call it correct guesses. Okay. I'm even going to go ahead and use user correct guesses. All right. And user correct guesses is going to store how many times the user guessed correctly. So initially, when the program starts, the user has guessed 0 times. So I'm going to initialize it to 0. Okay, the user has 0. So we're going to keep track of it by adding 1, 1, 1 to it anytime the user guesses it correctly. So if this is the case, if it matches, then let's add 1 to user correct guesses. So in this case, if it's correct, if it matches, then user correct guesses. Now, okay, it's going to be user correct. It's going to be equal to the value of what's already stored in user correct guesses plus 1. So this means that, remember, initially user correct guesses is 0. So if user correct guesses, okay, if this is the case, all right, if this is the case, then user correct guesses, which is 0, is going to be equal to 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1, when you add them together, you get 1. So now user correct guesses is going to be 1. If it's a loop, and if it's a loop and then it comes back up again, it's going to check if the guess color, okay, is equal to the computer's color, then add 1 to what's already stored in user correct guesses. But because there was 1 already stored in user correct guesses, right, it's going to read like this: user correct guesses, which is 1, is going to be equal to 1 plus 1. So 1 plus 1 gives you 2, and that 2 is going to be stored in user correct guesses. So basically, each time the user guesses it correctly, 1 is being added to user correct guesses. So we are keeping track of how many times the user got it correct. Okay. And then, so this is just keeping track of it. And then after it's all said and done, we can go ahead and display how many times the user has, gotten it correct. All right. Before we display that, let's do something. We will display it. Okay, that's the last thing we're going to do, basically. All right. So basically, we've done that. After the user has entered his or her guess, the program should display the name of the randomly selected color. Okay, we can do that because we will have it stored. We will have the randomly selected color stored in computer generated color. We'll have it stored in there because we will be matching it. We'll match it here. Let me change this back to red, like this. Okay. Because we will have that color, we match it over here, so we'll have that color stored in in computer generated color. Okay, we'll have it stored in computer generated color. All right, so we can display it in the question. In the program when we are displaying it to the user, because the program says we should display the name of the randomly selected color. The program should repeat this 10 times and then display the number of times the user correctly guessed the selected color. Okay, so we've done that. All right. Okay, all right, so the program said that we should do this 10 times. The program should repeat this 10 times and then display, we've read that. So basically we have to repeat this 10 times. So we need a loop, right? We need a loop, but we have to figure out what's going to go in the loop. So first I'm going to go ahead and create the loop over here. So I'm going to create the structure of the loop here. All right. So first of all, because the loop is going to be each iteration is going to be a question, right? So it's going to say, make your first guess, make your second guess, make your third guess, make your fourth guess. So basically something like that. It's going to be, each iteration is like a question. So make your guess number 1, make guess number 2. All right. All right. So I'm going to start by initializing a variable. I'm going to call it, it's going to be an integer. I'm going to call it question number or guess number. Okay. Or I'll just say question number. Question number. And I'm going to initialize it to 1 because I want to start from the very first question. Okay, so it's going to be question number 1. And I'm going to say as long as the question number is less than or equal to. Now I'm going to come up here and declare a variable. I'm going to call it number of questions. It's going to be an integer. I'm going to call it number of questions. And I'm going to set it to 10 because that's how many times I want to ask the user. So over here I'm going to say as long as question number is less than or equal to number of questions, right? Then do what's in the loop, and before you come back up and check to see if question number is less than or equal to number of questions, then add 1 to question number. All right, so what this means is we are starting from 1 and then ending at number of questions, which is 10. So starting from 1, ending at 10. So each time this loop is done, it's going to, so the first time it runs, question number is going to be 1. It's going to do what's in the loop, add 1 to it, and then come and check again. In that case, question number will be 2. So as long as question number is not less than or equal to 10, it's going to keep doing it until it gets to 10, and then it will stop. Because by that time, if it gets to 10, 10 is less than or equal to 10, which is number of questions. So it will stop. It will break out of the loop. Okay, so if that's the case, because we are starting from, and the thing is, we have the values also stored in these variables. So for example, question number, we have it stored in question number. We have that number stored in question number. So we can even use it in the statements when we are displaying it. We can say, please enter guess number 1, and we'll have 1 stored here. When question number is being incremented by 1, we can go ahead and use question number again and say, please enter guess number 2, because in that case, question number will be 2. All right, so you'll understand it while when I'm doing it, or the more we do it, the more we go through it. Okay, so we are starting from 1, going from 1 all the way to 10, right? And each time we want to go ahead and ask the user. We've already done that here, so that means that's going in the loop, right? Now before that, right? Each time we want to generate, okay, a random. We want the computer to generate something different, because we don't want the computer to generate only one number and then have the user guess it 10 times. Each time we want the computer to generate something different so that the user can guess it, right? So over here was when we were generating the color. So we need that in the loop. So again, because the question didn't state that initially, that's why I was following it. We finished we finished most of the program before it said we should repeat this 10 times. So that's why I did it like that. But it doesn't matter, because we can just figure out what needs to go in the loop and just do it. So now each time we want to go ahead and generate that number, right? And then match it to the colors by using the switch statement. So we're going to, based on the color index, we're going to match that color to computer generated color, right? So that goes in the loop as well. And yeah, so that goes in the loop as well. So let me just go ahead and okay. So after we've matched it to the right color to computer generated color, now is a user stand. So this is what we want to ask the user each time. So this is what we ask the user. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that and paste it right after that. And then in the loop, since we have the question number stored in a variable, I can go ahead and use it. So over here, I'm going to say, I have generated the color red, green, blue, orange, yellow. Guess what it is? Okay. Guess. I want to use that number. I'm thinking of a way to use it. So tell me your first guess. All right. So just say tell me guess number 1. Tell me your guess number 1. Guess number, I don't know. You can phrase this however you want it, but this is what comes to mind right now. So tell me guess number. Because we have the value stored in question number, I can go ahead and use it and say, tell me your guess number. Question number, sorry. And question number will hold a question number. So if it's 1, it will say, tell me your guess number 1. Tell me your guess number 2, because it's going to ask the user 10 times, right? So you'll get to tell me your guess number 10, and then it'll stop. Okay. So now the user is going to, the first time the user, this is a loop. So each iteration is going to ask the user, right? And so after it's gotten the user input, Now it has to go ahead and check. So I'm going to go ahead and each time it has to go ahead and check and then see or count how many times the user got it correct. So it's going to check over here. This is just indentation to get it right. And this has to be indented properly too. I didn't do that, sorry. So let's indent this one level in. Yes. So this looks good, but because it didn't look right. All right, so we just indented it properly. Everything is indented in the for loop. Everything is indented in the switch block. Everything is indented here too. All right, so if what the user has typed is equal to the computer generated color, then we add 1 to user correct guesses. And now we can go ahead and display it. We can go ahead and display I'm sorry about that. We can go ahead, the program over here said that after the user has entered his or her guess, the program should display the name of the randomly selected color, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. After the user has typed in this, okay, we go ahead and display the randomly selected color. So we can say, we can write a system, we can actually join it to this string over here, right? And say this. Instead of just going ahead to use user guess color, right? We'll get back to this, but I'm going to go ahead and let's form a string. Let's form a string here. So this is oh no, this is the question, so we don't have to touch that. I'm sorry. This is the question. So after the user has typed in this, let's go ahead and display a message. Okay, in the display a message over here using the G option pane and say that, and say what the user typed and what you also typed, right? So let's use the same G option pane. No, actually it's not. This is the input dialog. Let's use the G option pane, the show message dialog, to display it. So I'm going to call G option pane dot show message dialog, right? And the show message dialog takes a couple of arguments. First one is null, okay, which is basically, I'm using null because I want to center the window in the screen, okay. And the second one is going to be a message that we want to display. So I'm going to say this. I'm pretending as if I'm pretending as if I was a computer, right? So I'm going to say I selected yeah, I'm going to say I selected and then because I have the colors stored in computer generated color, right, I can use it. So I'm going to say I selected computer generated color, right, and you selected. So I'm going to concatenate it with a string and continue and say and you selected. I'm going to concatenate it with user generated color. Oh no, user guessed color, sorry. Did I use user guessed color here? Yeah. Okay, so user guessed color. Now because this is going off the screen, I'm going to go ahead and concat and break it from here, because I'm going to go ahead and break it from here like this. Okay, so I selected this color and you selected this color. Before it goes back up and ask again, okay, I have generated the color. Okay. So instead of using the color here, okay, I can even use the question number here, make it look like this. I have generated color number 2, right? Tell me your guess, or tell me your guess. All right, I can, and then this is going to say 3. I've generated color. So let me use it there. I think it'll be fun that way. So I'll delete that and say this. I have generated color number. Okay, and I'm going to break this, close the string, open this string, concatenate them with a plus sign, and use. Okay, but I know this is going off the screen. I'll break it soon. So I've generated a color number, and I can go ahead and use question number because that's what's holding the question number. So I've generated color number. It's going to say 1 for the first time, and I'm going to concatenate it with this string. All right. So I'm going to break it somewhere here, and then I'm going to join this because it's not done. Oops. Yeah. And then I'm going to say, tell me your guess, or what's your guess? and then I'll close the string. So I have generated a color number, a color, yeah, I've generated a color, and then the number will be here. So I've generated a color 1, or color number, sorry, or color number that's red. What's your guess? I've generated color number 2, color number 3, and so on and so forth. All right, so compare it here, and then display. I selected this, and you selected this, right? Before it goes back up and ask again for 10 times, because it's a loop. All right. Oops. All right, I'm just trying to make it look tidy. All right, so it's going to do that. It's going to say that we'll test this and see how it works. So now this is the end of the loop over here. The loop starts from here, right? And it ends here. Okay, so it starts from here and then ends here. So this is the closing brace of the loop, right? This is the ending brace of the loop. So after we're done with the loop, we can now go ahead and display how many times the user guessed correctly, right? So I'm going to go ahead and display how many times the user guessed it correctly. So option pane dot show message dialog. I'm going to use the option pane to show the message I want to display. So show the message dialog, right? And I want to first I'm going to call now. I want to center the window on the screen, and I'm going to display the message you guessed correctly, or you were able to guess. All right, and since I have the value of the number, the correct guesses stored in number of stored in user correct guesses, I can use it. So it'll be you were able to guess user correct guesses. All right, so it's going to say if it's 5, it's going to read you were able to guess 5. I'm going to concatenate it with a string and say of the colors I chose, of the colors I chose. I'm just going to say great job, nice job, or good job, like that. And this doesn't go off the screen, so we're fine. Okay, so you were able, if it's 5, it's going to read you were able to guess 5 of the colors I chose correctly. Good job. Now it was got off the screen, so I'm going to go ahead and break it here. Okay. All right, so one more thing. Anytime we use the option pane, we have to call system.exit. On system.exit, I'm going to pass in 0. So system.exit basically terminates that extra thread that is caused by the option pane. We have to terminate it, okay? So yes, we have to terminate it. And the reason why I'm passing in 0 as an argument is because I can later test on the return value of this method and check to see if it's a 0. And if it's a 0, it's normally an indication that the program ran successfully, was able to reach this line and send a 0, okay, and return a 0. All right, so now I think we're done. Let's run it to see what we're missing. So I'm going to go ahead and compile this, and I'm going to. This is one of the programs I was doing. I test programs here too sometimes. All right, so where is it? Desktop. And Java. Because I'm going to call this ESP. I'll create a folder for that. I'll call it ESP, and then I'll create it and I'll save this here as ESP.java. All right, so we have a couple of errors. So let's see. I can even see what it is. Over here I created a variable computer generated color, but over here I just said computer generated. So I think it cannot find a symbol. It cannot find a symbol computer generated because I declared a variable computer generated color, and over here I said computer generated. So I need to add the color here and then compile it. I think we have another. Okay, so computer generated color might not have been initialized. Okay, so over here, because we are using the if statement, and we are comparing. Okay, we are comparing this. Okay, when the program starts initially, because it has that code in there, the program needs to have a value in there initially, so that if nothing is being, if it's not set to anything, okay, if it happens that it's not set to anything, it can know what to compare with user guessed color. So I'm going to initialize that computer generated color to a string, which is nothing. It's a string. I want it to be nothing. See, no space even. It's just nothing. Okay, 2 double quotation with no space even, nothing. All right, so I'm going to compile that, and it works. So let's run that and see what happens. So I have generated color number 1. Okay, or color 1. Yeah, color number 1. Red, green, blue, orange, yellow. What's your guess? Okay, I'm going to type in red. Okay, and hit OK. I selected red and you selected red. So that means that I got it correct, okay? No, you can add a statement that says you got it correct, right? All right, so you know what? I'm just going to cancel this. This is just because we didn't create code for when we hit the cancel button, so ignore that. All right, so let's see. I'm just going to add some string just to make this look nice. We have to create an if statement to really check to see if it if it's correct. We can do it. We can just do it here because this is the if statement checking to see if it matches. So if it matches, then add 1 to the correct guesses. Display this message, right, and say. Also concatenate it with a string and say, nice job. Nice job, right? Else meaning it doesn't match. Else meaning that what the user has typed, the color that the user has typed, doesn't match what the computer has generated. So display the same message or a similar message, but this time don't say nice job. Say try again. And just put period first and say try again. Try again with a nice smiley, like this. And over here, I'm going to put a period. All right, nice job with a nice smiley. Okay, so I'm going to compile this and then run it. Okay, so I've generated a color number 1. What's your guess? I'm going to type in red, hit OK, and it says, I selected red and you selected red. Nice job. So behind the scenes, it's keeping track. After the program is done, it's going to tell us how many times we guessed it correctly. So I know it's 1. I'm going to hit OK. I have a problem. I selected red. You selected red. Hold on. Let's see what happened. Hold on 1 second. I think I saw something weird happen. Red. Okay, so it displays it twice. All right, so hold on 1 second. Let me see what's happening. Okay, that's because I'm putting over here after I copy the statement. I put it in the if it matches. I put 1 statement here. Else I put 1 statement here. I forgot to delete this statement. We don't need it. We don't need it. So if it's correct, if there's a match, display this message. Okay. If else, display this message. Meaning if there's no match, then display this message. Don't display anything after that, unless you're done with the loop, and then you display this. Okay. So now it should work. So let's run this. Okay. So red. I selected orange and you selected red. Try again. Okay. Hit OK. And red. I selected orange, you selected red. Try again. I'm going to type in blue. I selected green and you selected blue. Try again. So green again. I mean, not again, but I'm trying to guess green. I selected yellow and you selected green. Try again. Red. I selected green, you selected red. Try again. So I haven't guessed anything correctly. So over here it says I have generated color number 6. So I'm going to type in blue. I selected red, you selected blue. Try again. Okay. Yellow. I selected green, you selected yellow. Try again. red. I selected red, you selected red. Nice job. Okay, hit OK. Red again. I selected yellow, you selected red. Try again. I'm going to hit OK. Now, because I got it correct only once, it should say, I guess it's once. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and it says, there's one more, 10 more. Okay, so hit red, hit OK. I got that wrong too, so hit OK. You were able to guess one of the colors I chose correctly. Good job. Okay, so it works. Okay, we can try one last time just for fun, to see if this is actually very accurate. I think it is. All right, so let's try. This time I want to try to guess correctly. So red, green, blue, orange, yellow. So I'm going to start with red and hit OK. So I got that wrong. Okay. Blue. Oops, I typed in BLJ, so that doesn't even count at all. All right. This is my fourth try. Red. Green. Orange. Red. So I got 0. So you're able to get 0 of the colors I chose correctly. Just one more time, okay? I want to beat this thing. All right. Red. I will start with red. Okay. Orange. Green. Okay, I got this. Red. So I got it one time. Okay, so you're able to guess one of the colors I chose correctly. Good job. All right, so this program works. If you have any questions, I don't think I missed anything. But if you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next program. Bye-bye.